there's lots of things that somebody can enter somebody's house for that have nothing to do with taking their stuff, right?
Well, I wouldn't say there's lots. Usually you break into either steal the stuff or, in this case, kill people.
Yeah. Well, but that occurs, that people come into a home and kill people, right?
Right, but my big problem with that is when you do that, you bring a weapon.
Well, who's to say that this intruder didn't have a weapon?
Why would you use their weapon if you brought one?
Because that's a better weapon. Let's say you would admit that people can go into a home for one reason, and then something else can occur, right?
Yes.
Right? That would cause somebody to get killed that maybe they didn't even intend to kill, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I'm saying somebody could have come in for the purpose of stealing something, and then Mr. Jackson comes down, Jan Jackson, and he shoots Jan Jackson. That could have happened, right?
The reason I dislike that theory is because if you're going to kill someone while you're, burglarizing their home, you kill people that startle you, that confront you. Why would you kill someone that's in bed that hasn't even seen you? That's the first person that was shot.
Oh, who was the first person that was shot?
His sister.
That's your theory.
The evidence spells that out.
The sister had earplugs in her ears, didn't she?
There was one earplug found.
Oh, okay. One earplug was found, but people don't usually just wear one, do they?
Sustained.
You said this isn't the way that burglaries occur, right? That's what you said to Mr. Jackson.
Right.
And before the Iowa State incident, we would have said that people don't get killed on a golf course either, right? That never happens.
I'm sorry, what did you
Remember
reference?
the young lady that was killed on the golf course who went to Iowa State? You remember that?
I guess I didn't realize she was killed on a golf course. I remember her being a golfer.
She was killed on the golf course.
Okay.
That never happens either, does it?
Well, clearly it does.
Well, it never happens until it does happen, right?
I mean, it happened in that case.
You told Alex that people don't just come in and kill people, but that's exactly what happened in Idaho, right?
Yeah, but what I really meant was that people don't just come in and kill random people.
They don't what?
Random people.
Like,
Those people in Idaho aren't random. He was stalking one of them.
well,
I cite my
that's,
source from
again,
the news.
your theory.
Well, I got that source from the news.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that. But there have been cases that people just came in and killed people randomly.
You'd have to
All right.
give me some specifics on that one.
Well, what about Ted Bundy? He attacked 4 college roommates with a piece of wood. Remember when he did that?
Yes.
Florida State University?
Florida State, yes.
Picked up a piece of wood that he found at the residence.
Right, so brought his own weapon
No, he didn't. That was found at the scene.
outside.
Found a weapon. He didn't have a weapon when he went to that dormitory or that sorority, did he?
Well, it's Ted Bundy. I mean, that guy's usually got a kit of stuff with him. He was stopped with that kind of stuff.
On that particular occasion, he didn't, did he?
Well, I don't know what they found in his car.
So you're saying maybe he did have a weapon with him,
I don't know.
but he used the weapon that he found at the scene. And back to the Idaho case, he left people alive in that house, didn't he? And he left, and he saw somebody on his way out, right? One of the roommates
Potentially.
saw him,
Yes.
and that was when he gave the description to the police.
Yes.
And that
That's my
roommate
understanding.
didn't report that for hours later.
That I have no idea.
Now, do people enter other people's homes to steal firearms?
Yes.
You're familiar with that, right?
Yes.
This house had a lot of firearms in it, didn't it?
Yes.
And not all of them were locked up.
Correct.
I don't have any further questions.
Mr. Scheer, redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Investigator Denlinger, if someone is going into a house to steal a firearm, do they leave that firearm behind?
No.
I think it's safe to say that the 4.5 hours that you spoke to Mr. Jackson, the defendant, he denied killing his family.
Correct.
You've interviewed many individuals that are suspicious of killing someone. Was that a fair statement?
Yes.
Does everyone confess that they kill someone?
No, sometimes people sit through the whole interview and don't tell me the truth, and then we get to court later, and now they're pleading self-defense.
And we talked about trauma in your cross-examination about people having tunnel vision. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Talked about people being confused.
Yes.
Talked about people being in pain.
Yes.
You were able to speak to the defendant for over 4.5 hours. Did you ever see a time where he seemed confused with your questions?
Not really. I mean, there were probably less than a handful of times where he seemed like he was confused, but that certainly could have been my fault for wording the question poorly.
But he didn't seem to be giving you inappropriate answers to your questions.
No, not at all.
And you spoke to him twice, once at the hospital and at the police station.
Correct.
And both times you read him his Miranda rights.
Yes.
So both times you informed him he didn't have to speak to you.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to review or listen to the 911 call that states Exhibit 1?
Yes.
And at any time in that call, is the defendant crying?
No. Not that I can hear.
And do you remember him saying to the 911 dispatcher, "My family members have been shot"?
Yes.
Have you had a chance, or have you seen State's Exhibit Number 2, which was Officer Buckles' body camera?
Yes.
When the officers made contact with the defendant, was he crying?
No.
And then what about State's Exhibit Number 4, Officer Barber's body cam video? Did you see the defendant crying at the residence?
No.
And was this before the defendant received any medicine?
Yes.
There was this discussion that Mr. Johnson was talking to you about, these trail of footprints going down the hall towards the defendant's bedroom. You remember that?
I do.
I'll give you a second.
Thank you. Okay.
And you were starting to kind of try to explain an answer about where he was shot or something in that. Can you tell us what you were talking about?
Right. So there are two sets of footprints in the hallway. Now he told me he was shot out by his father and that he crawled around after that. So I don't know why there's any bloody footprints. Okay. The footprints start in his bedroom, or you can see the footprints. You can follow these.
The objection's overruled. You can answer.
You can see enough of a footprint, heel, toe, that's what I'm talking about. Dark red, walking from the area of his bedroom out into the hallway. You can see where that footprint continues, steps over Dad, and then the footprints are now, and it looks like he stood there for a little bit, potentially, and then there are lighter footprints on the way back. When we came into contact with him, he's sitting in the back of the hallway. And while we're there, he crawls out. But while you're standing there looking at the carpet, you're thinking to yourself, well, that story he told me earlier doesn't seem to make sense in my opinion.
So I want to, Your Honor, if I may, republish State's Exhibit 119. And also, Officer Denlinger, did you actually go to the scene?
Yes.
And did you also personally observe these footprints yourself?
Yes.
And so looking at State's Exhibit 119, what, once again, is this a picture of?
This is Alex Jackson's bedroom towards the back of the hallway. It's looking from the doorway in towards his bed.
And when you were talking about this footprint leaving the bedroom, towards the bottom of State's Exhibit 119 being circled with the mouse, what is that?
That's a footprint
And which direction is that footprint going?
towards the door.
Did you ever see a footprint going into the bedroom?
No.
Sticking with State's exhibits, specifically State's Exhibit 61, is this the trail that was talked about in Cross and also currently now?
Yes.
And so can you explain to us what were you talking about, these direction of these footprints?
So we're standing in the family room next to the couch looking back towards Alex's bedroom. On the right, past those photos, is Alex's bedroom, followed by his sister's bedroom. On the right-hand side of that hallway, you could see a couple of things, one of them being Alex's phone. This darker trail coming out has identifiable, like everyone can see it, identifiable footprints of him coming out and dragging his foot. The footprints are directional, and they're easily identifiable as going out towards his father.
What do you mean by directional?
Meaning you can see enough of the heel, enough of the toes to know which direction that foot's moving.
And which way is that foot moving?
Towards his father.
So that foot is moving from the bedroom of the defendant towards his father.
Correct.
I want to go next to State's Exhibit 76. Looking at State's Exhibit 76, kind of towards the markers of 16 and 1, what are we observing between markers 1 and 16?
Yeah, those are more footprints
And what is the direction that those footprints are going?
towards the father.
Next, I want to go to State's Exhibit 119. This is, once again, starting back on the defendant's bedroom. When you went to this resident, looking at this photograph, where was the most pool of blood?
Next to the leg of his bed.
And so when you say the leg of the bed, the leg that would be closest towards us in viewing this photograph.
Yes.
I want to go next to State's Exhibit 121. What is this a zoomed up photo of?
That's a photo of that corner of the bed that I was explaining.
And zooming in on State's Exhibit 121, we see some red dots along that bottom portion of the bed and also on the wheel. What is that?
Blood.
Is that consistent of blood coming in an upward direction if you have shot yourself?
The objection's overruled. You can answer.
It looks like it.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect or recross?
So, if I got your testimony straight, Mr. Jackson shoots himself in the foot in his bedroom. Is that what you're saying?
It looks that way.
There's no bullet found in that bedroom, was there?
No.
No shell casing found in that bedroom?
No, but he also had a shell casing in his hand at one point.
when he
And
crawled,
there's no bullet found where he claimed he was shot himself, or I'm sorry, where he claimed this shot occurred.
so you think that he, after he shot himself, he took the firearm back up the hallway and dropped it off on the other side of his father? Is that your theory?
That's exactly what I think happened.
Thank you. No further questions.